K-pop, like, I don't have an opinion on this because like masculinity has different forms when you move across the world, even across the country. But like, I don't know, man. K-pop fans get really, really mad when you start to call like K-pop artists like feminine. I didn't notice this. I never called one feminine, but I was around when they were called feminine, and then they just start like seething. They just start seething, and I'm not necessarily sure why. I mean, I can understand how if you have a different like idea of masculinity, these like perfect skin, like pale porcelain, perfect hair, like glistening boys, I can see how they look feminine. I can see that. Online, I'm at the intersection of a decent amount of oppression. You know, I'm straight. And in this area, being straight is a rarity. That does make me a minority. But one of the biggest and most hardest hitting for my personal life, the group I identify with that gets the most amount of flack, is probably being a gamer. So gamers have been on the back foot for a little while. Gamers are an oppressed group, just like anyone else. We really are. And people laugh, people cackle. People joke about it. People think it's not true, but it is true. You know why? Because it's observable. And just like any other oppression, it can be measured. The glass ceiling has not been broken in some countries like it has been in some places in the US. China is one of those places. Gamers are still on the back foot. Gamers are still being oppressed. Gamers' lives matter, and China doesn't believe so because China is taking more steps to ban gamers. China bans kids from playing online games during the week. You guys like playing online during when you know like East Asia's up? You probably won't see many Chinese players anymore. They may be like gone arena. They may just be disappear. Dota on life support. Yeah, Dota's seething. China has barred online gamers under the age of 18 from playing on weekends and limited their play to just 3 hours most weekends, making a significant escalation of restrictions in the country's massive gaming industry. So over the years, we've seen a lot of companies pander towards China like really hard when it comes towards their gaming market. I've known a lot of games, and you guys have probably seen it too, that a lot of games have like bent the knee to like a lot of Chinese restrictions on where their games go, especially a lot of free-to-play games are being shipped overseas to China to their absolutely massive market. Because they have a couple of people. They have just a few more than America, I know that much. And with that massive market comes a lot of money. And so they get it marketed there. And so, listen, I can understand this, that the same way we've exploited China when it comes to their cheap labor, lots of companies, Blizzard included, exploits China when it comes to their usage of, you know, barely ethical, in some places illegal marketing tactics and free-to-play gimmicks like loot crates, loot boxes, unlockables, and a lot of cosmetics that draw you in and basically gamble your shit away. But they aren't taking a targeted approach at that. They aren't going, hey, you have to stop these practices. They're like, we're stopping you from gaming, period. So they're treating a 7-year-old like a 17-year-old, and you just can't game during the week, period. Minors will be allowed only an hour of playtime during 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Friday, weekends, and public holidays, according to a statement from the Chinese media watchdog. The move represents a huge tightening of its earlier limits of the agency in 2019, which had restricted play to 90 minutes on weekdays and 3 hours on weekends. Authorities say that the restrictions were put in place to help prevent young people from becoming addicted to video games. Investors were quick to react. Tencent, if you remember, Tencent is the company that owns Pokemon Unite. Tencent suffered and it tumbled 1.6%. I can understand this, but this sort of like heavy-handed government oversight of how people interact with media, I think is really unfortunate because there's so many great games out there that you can handle that you can handle responsibly. And I really feel like people's idea of what gaming addiction is so incredibly off. Like they don't understand it at all. Like some kid will play a game for like 4 hours or something and be like, my kid's addicted to gaming, as they sit there and then like soak up MSNBC gruel for like 10 hours a day. You know what I mean? Like I really think that what people understand as as like gaming addiction is incredibly off. Like still at the end of the day, when it comes to addiction, you still have to have the markers of addiction. Like it has to negatively affect your life. You have to like be losing things from it. There are lots of things that go into what addiction is, but I feel like lots of people just go, oh, he's gaming, so he's addicted to it, just period. Oh, he chooses to play a video game instead of go outside, so he's like addicted to gaming, which leads people to obviously misdiagnose. And then they think, oh, since everyone's addicted to gaming, we have to just fucking ban games. They've gone too far this time. They went incredibly too far, but this is just like the Chinese government. This is just what they do. Honestly, which is really unfortunate because there's so many great games out there that I think children can really learn from and minors can really learn from without like completely upending it and banning it. And I think it's really unfortunate that instead of like hitting on the really abusive tactics and policies that the gaming industry employs to soak up as much money as possible from like Chinese kids, instead of stopping them from doing that, the like one of the biggest gaming hubs of the world, like China, instead of dealing with that, they just banned gaming for these kids, period. Sounds like boomer blanket policies. Yeah, like I don't care for any policies that are like put through by people who don't know how to fucking work an iPhone. You know what I mean? Like I can never trust anything that you have to say. And at school I had a 4.0 GPA and was on track with all my stuff, and my parents still said I was addicted to gaming. Yeah, like you can do, when it comes to this, like you can do everything right as long as they see you gaming when they want you to do anything else, then they'll say that you're addicted to gaming. And there's nothing that you can really do about it. Like we know what alcoholism looks like. We know what like you being addicted to like fucking heroin or something looks like. We don't really know what being addicted to gaming looks like. And so you blanket everyone who plays games as being addicted to gaming. This is just stuff that China does. And I really think that it's really unfortunate this sort of like heavy-handed policy is put down that hurts people. And it shows a lot of reactionary politics in the, China legislature. And that moves us into the next thing that they banned recently, which is sissy idols and effeminate men that they said they're going to scrub from the entertainment industry. What is an effeminate sissy idol boy? What is that? What is a sissy idol boy? Do you know what that is? Do you know what that looks like necessarily? Can you give me like a description? I feel like for a lot of people, it changes rapidly depending on who and like who you are and what you're looking for, right? Personally, I don't think like Xi Jinping is like the exemplar image of masculinity that I get in my head when I'm thinking about a big, strong boy, big, strong, masculine boy. Like, I mean, he's tall, but my man's built like fucking Boomhauer. You know what I mean? He's not necessary, and not to bully or anything, but he's not necessarily the guy that I think of when I think of the most masculine man, but they hold other people to standards that they don't want to hold up to themselves. That's the point. That's what makes it so easy for them to do stuff like this. The Chinese government's crackdown on tech and entertainment sectors has now turned its eyes to sissy idols and effeminate men and all things overtly entertaining. The measures were sketched out an 8-point plan on Thursday by the National Radio and Television Administration. It called for further regulation on arts and entertainment shows related to personnel. According to the measures, the Communist Party of China's propaganda department accused some of the entertainment industry of being a bad influence on the young and severely polluting the political atmosphere. This is literally George Orwell's 1953's book about bad governments. Literally. I've read this book before, and I know exactly what it says. 1972, that book, it's crazy, dude. And they do literally this exact same thing. But in all seriousness, this like grip on society that China tries to keep on their people is really, it's really worrying. Them trying to mold people. Yeah, Josh Orwell's 1561. I remember that book. It's a great read. You guys should pick it up sometime. What is sissy idol? What is a sissy idol? Xi Jinping? I don't know. Nobody really knows what that means. But severely polluting the social atmosphere. What they want to hold up as their society. I mean, you even look at it like Chinese military videos are like ancient Chinese warriors with the old like armor and stuff, and they'll become a man, be a man, instead of just like letting people be themselves. Like, China's a really big country. you guys will have like a lot of military members. There's nothing destroying your country about people like boy wear nail polish every once in a while and has a good sense in fashion and washes his asshole. You know what I mean? Like a lot of women really want guys to wash their dicks and their assholes more. And I gotta tell you, it may not be severely polluting the social atmosphere, but it do be polluting my nose when you walk by. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Boycotting being overly entertaining, explaining a need for more emphasis on traditional Chinese culture, revolution culture, and socialist culture. I mean, so I don't necessarily know what the fuck socialist culture means. Revolutionary culture. But this is what I'm talking about with the traditional Chinese culture. They're like horseback warrior men with like ancient Chinese armor type shit. And that's the country that they want to go back to. But we progress. They don't roll with the punches. They try to roll over the punches. Just society changes and society moves. Our definition of what masculinity is and should be changes with it. If you want a traditional sort of like idea of it, then go ahead. But still, there's lots of guys who love the idea of being able to fight for the country and shit like that. Sounds pretty fascist to me. It's an interesting meme. Femboys without socialism is not socialism. I mean, femboys with fascism is fascism, though. The guidelines also called for the marginalization of people who have broken laws, whose past behavior has gone against the public order and morals. So this is a really big thing. They're cracking down basically on people having media that goes against like natural Chinese order that they have it today. What's really great about the media that we have is that we can make media, whether it like be good or bad, but make media that challenges the way that we view society today. They basically want to stop that, like stop public order and morals, things like that. So you probably see less, and you know, you see very little now, but almost no like things like interracial couples between like Chinese and non-Chinese people. See things like LGBT representation diminish to, you know, even less than it already is in Chinese media. It's just sad. And bans on idol audition shows, which there can be bad culture around that, and there can be bad like ideas fomenting around that. But instead of like banning the entire thing, because what makes people want to go through that, people don't destroy their lives and their bodies going through like idol audition shows because it's just fun. They do it for a reason. People don't do these things because they're just funny. They do it for a reason. And you really have to figure out why people are doing those things, why these people are taking destructive actions, and not just trying to take it away from them like they're a children, like they're children, like they're a toy, like it's a toy. It doesn't work like that. That problem will find another outlet. Now, what that outlet will be, I'm not sure, and they don't know either. Gay entertainment content has remained in a gray zone. The foreign films with gay themes such as Call Me By Your Name and Bohemian Rhapsody have been heavily censored or removed from screens. Earlier this year, dominant messaging in WeChat erased all past content of all the accounts of the campus LGBT groups of China's top universities. Not necessarily like the coolest memes going on. And they want to put a big heavy ban on things like showing idols. And I remember we talked about this the last time, where what they did was they wanted to fill children's heads with being like super big and masculine. So they have like wrestling stars, they have like sports stars start to take over some classrooms. Like there'll be a day where your teacher won't be there, and instead like some random like football star will be teaching the class and flexing his muscles and like breaking the chalk with his biceps or something to make boys feel like more like epic and fat cocked or something, and not be small and effeminate and weak and smooth skin, bad, rough, tough skin, good. All right, is good. That would just make people gayer. Oh no, it's making them all gay. Yeah, moisturization and washing your asshole is very, very bad. It's so funny they want to make more masculine men. And it's China's historical definition of masculinity is very much the same as idol culture. Yeah, but they don't like it. It's all sparkly and that's gay. Yeah, we're going to send all the buffest, strongest, glistening boys oiled up boys. We're gonna send the strongest oiled up boys into the classroom to combat homosexuality. It's going to be great. That's like the idea of horny jail. You know what I mean? Like, think, Cheems, think, G, think. What happens if you put all the prettiest boys? Well, what happens if you put the biggest masculine boys in the classrooms? Yeah, they have like action movie stars and people like that going into classrooms and like flexing for the kids. It's like comically goofy what they're trying to do, and they say that they're really upset that like this and a lot of Chinese people are really upset because they're not able to, lots of people aren't able to express themselves and what it means to be feminine, what it means to be a sissy idol is up to the determination of the CCP and their regulation bodies. So with this being said, obviously your favorite clowns decided to chime in, like the Quartering, who decided to chime in. He looks so fucking confused. What is his face? Wait, I'm sorry, like this shit's just hilarious. Oh no, my wife found the piss sock. Oh no, my wife found the piss drain. POV, your wife comes down to your man cave and then finds the drain you've been pissing in all this time. Honey, Jeremy, why does this drain smell like piss? He looks like he just saw a ghost, man. Why does he look like that? Poor baby.
Effeminate men banned, sissy men banned from media. And it's begging the question as we get photo shoots like this, which depict a fully pregnant Lil Nas X.
I think that shit looks weird as fuck and it makes me uncomfortable. At the same time, I think it's amazing that we live in a country where people are able to produce the media that they want. I think it's great. You know why? Because I'm for free speech. And I think it's amazing that people are able to express themselves in the way that they want. At the end of the day, Lil Nas wouldn't be able to do this if people didn't pay for it. But people like it. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable? Well, congratulations.
Which way, Western man? China has banned sissy idols.
Well, if this is what you're talking about, this wouldn't be Western man. This would be Eastern man. But
and effeminate men scrubbed from the entertainment industry. That would be like 75% of the men in the Western entertainment industry.
Unlike Jeremy, the biggest, strongest fucking masculine man I've ever fucking seen, dude. This is peak masculinity, actually. I've never seen a man more man in my entire life. This guy doesn't have a milligram of estrogen flowing through any of his veins. Like, one of the biggest media franchises that are going on at the moment is Marvel. That's full of like ripping muscly, huge, masculine dudes running around shooting and throwing people with their big man arms. Like, this is actually, we're risking it all because I'm a man. Like, this is what our media still like has this. I don't know what you're talking about. Just because they don't like say mean things about gay people every opportunity that they get doesn't mean that they're not masculine, friend. Who's like a effeminate man in Marvel? Spider-Man? Spider-Man's not an effeminate guy. Spider-Man's just a fucking nerd. Like, and Spider-Man goes like Tony Stark. Like Tony, I mean, like, sure, like he's when I think people say that something like Tony Stark or like Spider-Man is like effeminate, what they mean is like they take showers. Like they have nice hair. Yeah, Loki's kind of femme in the comics, but also you have to watch out for like characters like Loki being portrayed as femme, because you fall into like the him category of, oh, like he's effeminate, but he's effeminate. He's like effeminate and like a gender fluid and shit because he's bad. You know, you're like all of the most like effeminate characters are portrayed as like evil or like duplicitous or a bad or untrustworthy type thing. So you don't want to fall into that trap either necessarily. Is he effeminate or is he just nice? Think about that for a second, okay?
Rap videos that are nonstop action, full of just kick. Look at that.
Jeremy's such a fucking child. Look at, he's such a fucking kid. Like, wait 1 second. I'm sorry. Like, wow, oh, they shot him. Look at that. Look at that. just like baby's first night out. Whoa, trains, planes, and automobiles.
I mean, actual paintball headshots. I assume that was paintball. This is what
he's worrying about getting demonetized now. This man only comes in middle. Yeah, dude, he's so straight that he watches porn without women in it. Marxist socialism being pushed by the media, higher education. Hey, it's all according to the plan. What the fuck? What are you talking? You're talking to about a communist country. Well, a purported communist country, like they're called the CCP. One of those C's stands for communism. China is taking a very good look at the current U.S. politics and doing everything possible to avoid the mistake that China has committed, knowing how harsh they are in regards of social and gender politics, how their tech giants are being manhandled into submission, and how they're treating their extremely wealthy billionaires with contempt. I want death. That's all. I'm going to sewer slide. I'm going to find the nearest sewer and slide right into it. Okay. I'm going to support my local Home Depot by buying a length of rope. I'm gonna love the Second Amendment by buying a single handgun, dude. Like, what is this? This is incredible. This level of delusion in a human being is honestly one of the most shocking things I've seen in my entire life. So are you for free speech or are you not? Tell me. I'd love to. Are you for free speech or are you not? Are you for free expression or are you not? Do you want the government to step in and do everything, or do you want people to freely express themselves? Tell me. You can't have it both ways like this. You can't be like, oh yeah, I love it when the government uses their power to regulate society and gender politics. I love it when they manhandle tech giants into submission, and I love how they treat their extremely wealthy billionaires with contempt. This is the dumbest shit I've seen in my entire life. And I'll explain to you why this is so stupid. All right. This comment is actually the entire reason why I went to the comment section. China's legislature is one of, if not the wealthiest legislature of a country on the entire planet. China's legislature has a net wealth of $650 billion with a B. $650 billion. China's legislature is incredibly rich. China's richest politicians are billionaires. The richest people in the country are the Chinese legislature. So, sure, buddy, maybe they treat their billionaires with contempt. They treat their billionaires with such contempt that they let them run the country. This is far different. You are out of your mind if you think that the Chinese legislature or China at all takes a much harder stance against their rich people than we do. Yeah, they're an authoritarian state capitalist country. That's what they are. It's incredible to me how the second these people will cry and bitch and moan about free speech. This is what I mean when it comes, you can't trust the right when it comes to their wanting free speech. They don't want it. They don't care about free speech. The second they grab free speech, they'll do the same exact thing that Richard Spencer talked about when he was caught on air talking about it, when he was recorded about it. He doesn't care about free speech. These people play and they mess with words all up until the point where it doesn't become politically viable for them anymore. And then they drop it. They care about power. They care about getting their political agenda through, and they care about crushing their enemies. And that's what they're there for. That's what matters to them and nothing else. If once they get to power, just like these people said in that comment section, what they'll want to do is just is ban everyone and everything that they don't like from media. Mind you, and this apparently like super like undemocratic, horrible, awful society that we have right now, run by the liberals who are destroying conservatives. Conservatives are still allowed to have like media platforms. Conservatives are like some of the biggest platforms on the internet. And to sit here and say that they are comparable to the shit that goes on in China is just, it's laughable. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's a fucking joke. Once they climb up the ladder, they pull it up for everyone else and they kick everybody else down who made it up in the first place. That's their plan. That's the goal. Keep your eye on the ball, because if not, they're going to take it and they're going to make sure that you legally aren't allowed to have it again. It sucks. It's sad. But now we see who they are. All right. Don't let them lie to you. Yeah. Something forbearance, something compassion, something loser ass.